Hello and welcome to the Penno channel and another update regarding Aston Villa's latest transfer news, rumours, gossip and links. Before we start this one, if you could like the stream, subscribe if you're new around here and also comment your thoughts on the latest links to Aston Villa and let me know if you agree or disagree with the links or like the players that potentially could be coming into the club. So first off, we'll start off with a big name, a huge name. Everyone knows him and the links just don't seem to go away, and that's Joao Felix. Now, Joao Felix has been linked to Aston Villa ever since Unai Emery come to the club. He's always a name that comes up. We did put in an offer towards him before he went on loan to Barcelona while he was at Atletico Madrid, but that never materialised last summer. And again, the rumour comes back again. It seems like Joao Felix is always linked to Aston Villa. And is there more of an opportunity to sign him this time? Well, obviously, we saw at the Euros, he missed a penalty. He hardly got any minutes at the Euros. I don't think Joao Felix's stocks could be any lower than they are right now. You have to think Joao Felix, when he broke onto the scene at Benfica, he was considered a wonder kid. He was in the same categories as your Mbappe's, your Erling Haaland's. Still only 24 years of age. He was considered to be at that level, but it's just never worked. It's never quite got there. He had an initial decent start at Atletico Madrid, but Diego Simeone didn't fancy him. He wasn't suited to the system they were playing. And he's had loan spells at Chelsea, we remember, in the Premier League, where he showed glimpses of brilliance, but he just never really worked. Wasn't really scoring the goals either. And then even on his loan last year at Barcelona, which he stated was his dream move, his ideal club, it didn't quite really work for him there. I think 30 appearances he had for Barcelona. I think he managed around 70 goals, which isn't too bad, but they just expected more and didn't quite seem to work. Now, it seems as if Barcelona can't afford to sign him on a permanent. There's rumours of Benfica being involved. There was a bid potentially of around 32.5 million euros that could entice Joao Felix to join Benfica and could entice Atletico Madrid. It seems around that price, which, a few years ago, you'd never imagine to get Joao Felix around that price. It seems too low, especially for his age. And the potential he does have and the ability he does have, but he just doesn't show it consistently at all. So if it is around 32.5 million that could lure Joao Felix away from Atletico Madrid, then our Aston Villa, is Monchi going to go to Atletico and say, yeah, look, we're looking to bid this and we can afford to offer this? Now, obviously, Joao Felix has high wages, very, very high wages. Can Villa afford that in the state that they are? Obviously, we were very close to PSR. We managed to work around that this summer, but it's going to be there again next year, even though we've managed to increase revenue and will increase revenue even more and have Champions League football this season coming up. So, yeah, it's always, there's been links and we've made a bid for him in previous years. So Unai Emery loves Joao Felix, and if there's ever a manager who could transform the fortunes of a player whose stocks are so low, it's Unai Emery. He develops players. That is his bread and butter. We've seen it at Villa. We've seen it at Villa with the example of just Morgan Rogers, who only joined in January and looks to have gone to another level with the games that he played. So if Unai Emery could get his hands on Joao Felix, who knows what he's capable of. And obviously, Joao Felix has played in the league now, so he's used to it with being at Chelsea for 6 months. Yeah, I like it. I just don't think it'd be interesting to see if we can get a deal, if we can work around it, because of his wages are so high. But the transfer price and the price of the player himself will have been greatly reduced from the last time we bid, just because he hasn't been producing to that level that everyone expected. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Joao Felix. Is that a hit or a miss in terms of Aston Villa business? I'm really interested in your thoughts regarding that, because he's a player that causes so much discourse, there's so much conversations around him, because he has the ability and the quality. It's just being productive on the pitch. We move on now to another Atletico Madrid player, bit older, centre-back, and that's Mario Hermoso. Now, he had a very good season for Atletico Madrid, playing at centre-back. Again, he's been there a number of years now. Spanish international, but has only made 4 appearances for Spain. Didn't make it into the Euro squad. But yeah, he usually operates in the back three. He can also play left-back and left centre-back. And he could play left centre-back in a 4 as well. Strong, combative defender. 29 years of age now, and his contract has run out at Atletico Madrid. Now, they haven't come to an agreement with signing a new deal, so he's looking to play elsewhere. And Villa have been linked with him now since last year, stating when he came around, 7-8 months left on his deal, that Villa would be looking to make an offer for him if he was to run down his contract. And it's looking like there's rumours again that is seemed to be a case, and potentially in the next few days, Mario Hermoso could become a Villa player. Now it's Villa and Napoli who are after his signature, who are the high-profile clubs. I think the other clubs who are looking at him just can't afford the wage structure or can't incorporate his wage structure into what they're doing this summer. So if Villa do look at Hermoso, obviously Clement Lenglet has now left the club. He was only on a loan deal, so he would come in to replace Clement Lenglet. But also you've got to think of the fact of Tyrone Mings could be back this season. You expect him to be back this season, and he could be back. I don't think he'll be before the season starts, but he could be back a quarter of the way into the season. So that would leave you with 3 left-footed, left-sided centre-backs in Pau Torres, Tyrone Mings and Hermoso. Could we be looking to change and how we operate with Ezri Konsa as a right-back? Maybe have the option to have a left centre-back as a left-back as well and attack down the right-hand side. We signed Ian Matson. We have many left-backs at the club right now. I can see a couple of those moving away. That could be an option. That could be an idea. But yeah, Mario Hermoso, experience, Champions League experience, played at the highest level, had a very good season for Atletico Madrid, played 45 games for him. So he was, a big factor in their side and a big part of that team, and has been for many seasons. Diego Simeone really likes him as a player, but they haven't managed to come to terms and agree a deal to sign a new deal. So he's looking to move elsewhere and looking for a new challenge. Again, a player I like, and I could see him coming into this Villa side and slotting right in. Age profile, he's 29. He's on the older side of things. We have Diego Carlos is 30, Luca Digne is 30. So that could be a bit of a varying in terms of how we're looking to operate in the transfer market, because apart from Ross Barkley, everyone else has been, 23 and younger. But yeah, that will be another interesting one to see if that one does develop, and if there's further news on if Mario Hermoso will become an Aston Villa player over the coming week or weeks. Moving on, Jaka Bijol, a defender, Slovenian international, Udinese, 25 years of age, had a very good Euros tournament. You have to think Slovenia only conceded 2 goals. One was a last-minute goal to Serbia, and the other goal was a Christian Eriksen goal against Denmark. They kept clean sheets against England and took Portugal to penalties, with also keeping a clean sheet. And Jaka Bijol was imperative in doing that. He was really their star defender in that. With Udinese, they finished 15th. Didn't have the greatest of seasons. They were the 8th worst XG conceded, so it wasn't representative of that. So they were 12th in terms of how good their XG conceded was in Serie A. Different profile to many of our defenders in terms of his ball-playing stats aren't up there at all. You have Diego Carlos and Pau Torres, whose ball-playing stats are very good as centre-backs. Jaka Bijol isn't quite in that same mould, but what are good are his defensive actions, which is his tackling, his interceptions, his positioning. He's very good in aerial duels as well, and that's where he stands out. Now, Villa had a lot of trouble last season from defensive set pieces, set plays, and even crosses that come into the area in defensive actions. And could they be looking at a player like Jaka Bijol, if maybe a Mario Hermoso doesn't come in, to be that sort of player? We've seen it in the Euros this summer. He was very good in the air and very good in his actions defensively, making tackles, interceptions, and he played as part of a back four for Slovenia. Whereas with Udinese, he played as the centre of a 3 in a 3-5-2 that Udinese used to play. So he's used to playing in various formations as well, which something Villa will do, will chop and change, and Emery likes to tweak certain areas within the starting lineup. So yeah, that's another interesting one. Again, 25 years of old, so he's potentially not reached his peak yet. Had a very good tournament and he's a solid option. But as I stated, usually Emery likes a centre-back who is a ball player, who can play with the ball, because we love to build up from the back, and that is how we play. And Jaka Bijol didn't really have those stats. But then again, that could be because he's playing for a 15th place Udinese, whose style of play was more to play long instead of playing with the ball at the back, because he didn't trust the players that they had to do so. Finally, we're going to move on to a former Premier League striker who, again, will be a Premier League striker if he stays at his club, and that is Kelechi Iheanacho. There's rumours of him potentially leaving on a free from Leicester City. Iheanacho is just one of those. Again, he was at the time when he was coming through, 18, 19, he was at Manchester City. Him and Rashford came through the same time. It seemed like him and Rashford were going to be the leaders for Manchester United and Manchester City at that time when they were challenging each other for titles. Kelechi Iheanacho had that, he had that profile, and he was doing bits when he was playing for Manchester City. When he was coming on the pitch, he was scoring goals. Didn't quite work out at Manchester City, but he went to a Leicester side who was at that point finishing top 5, top 6, chasing that top 4 position. So he still was at a side who was at the higher end of the table. Kelechi Iheanacho has always, again, just struck me as one of those strikers who has the ability, but he just never kicks consistency, whether it be he falls out of form or he just gets an injury at that time where he looks like he's becoming that player, where he's really stepping up. He's had a few seasons where he stepped up in a 2-3 month period for Leicester, and then it's just kind of disappeared, or the season's ended, and it just hasn't been as consistent as it should be for Kelechi Iheanacho, and a player with that ability. Plays well for Nigeria when he does start, and he's available for Nigeria. But again, they've got Victor Osimhen who's come in as well, and sometimes his minutes are limited in that sense. But yeah, Kelechi Iheanacho, what's your thoughts on him coming into Villa if potentially Jhon Duran does go? Is that an option you'd like to see? Has Premier League experience. I think he's been at Leicester for 7 years now. Was at City for 2 or 3 as well. So he's coming on to just, I think, 8-9 years experience playing in the Premier League. Had a season in the Championship where he didn't manage many goals. I think got 5 goals in 23 appearances, which isn't the best really for a player who, you'd think of his calibre, he should be hitting double digits minimum. But yeah, has played well in the Premier League, and maybe again it's a player that Unai Emery could unlock. But yeah, I'm not too sure about Kelechi, mate. He just seems like he just can't get the consistency. That's the big factor. Again, a player that has shown technical ability, has shown he can score great goals in the Premier League. But just, the consistency's never been there. But yeah, we'll see regarding that, and if that does develop further, and what does happen to Jhon Duran, because obviously the links with Chelsea AC, it's kind of gone quiet, but he's at the Copa America now with Colombia, and international tournaments are reaching that stage where it's the final for both, and Colombia are still in Copa America and into the semi-finals. So yeah, we'll see if anything does develop in that regard. But let me know your thoughts on all these 4 players that I've mentioned in the comment section, please. Please like the stream and subscribe if you're new around here. Trying to build the channel, will continue to grow, getting new subs, which is much appreciated. And I think on the video, there's only 10% of you that are subscribed that do watch. So the other 90%, if you could subscribe, that would be great. Thanks again for joining me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about these links, these rumours, and especially Joao Felix. Would you like to see Joao Felix at Aston Villa? Until the next time, up the Villa, and see you in the